South Africa's political spotlight is firmly on the Democratic Alliance as leadership tensions, internal transitions, and questions of credibility converge at one of the party's most important gatherings in recent years. At the center of this moment is Helen Zille, the outgoing Federal Council chairperson, who has made a clear and deliberate commitment. The upcoming leadership elections within the Democratic Alliance will be fair, transparent, and credible. Her message is direct. The integrity of the process must not be compromised. Speaking ahead of the party's Federal Congress, Zille emphasized that the Democratic Alliance must lead by example, particularly at a time when public trust in political institutions across South Africa remains fragile. But this is not just about internal party processes, it is about political credibility. The DA is no longer just an opposition party, it is now part of the governing framework in South Africa's coalition era following the 2024 elections. That shift has raised the stakes significantly. Internal leadership elections are no longer just about party direction, they are about national influence. Zille's role in this moment is critical. As Federal Council chairperson, she oversees governance processes within the party, including the integrity of internal elections. Her pledge of fairness is therefore both a responsibility and a signal that the party is aware of the scrutiny it faces. Because the truth is, the DA cannot afford internal instability right now. The party is navigating a complex transition. Outgoing leader John Steenhuisen has declared his mission complete, leaving behind a party that has moved from internal crisis to a position of national relevance. But leadership transitions are always high-risk moments. They can strengthen a party or expose its weaknesses. The upcoming Federal Congress is expected to determine not just who leads the party, but what direction it takes in a rapidly changing political environment. And that environment is increasingly competitive. South Africa's political landscape is no longer dominated by a single party. It is fragmented, coalition-driven, and unpredictable. The rise of parties such as the Economic Freedom Fighters and the Umkhonto we Party has intensified competition, particularly as voter dissatisfaction grows over economic challenges, unemployment, and governance failures. In this context, credibility becomes everything. Zille's emphasis on fair elections is not just procedural, it is strategic. If the DA is to position itself as a credible governing alternative, it must demonstrate that it can manage its own internal democracy effectively. Political analysts say that internal processes often reflect broader party culture. A transparent and fair leadership election strengthens legitimacy. A contested or disputed process can damage it. And the DA has experienced internal divisions before. From leadership disputes to ideological disagreements, the party has had to navigate periods of instability. That history adds weight to Zille's commitment. It is not just about ensuring fairness, it is about avoiding past mistakes. At the same time, there is another layer to the story. Zille herself is one of the most influential figures in the DA. Her political legacy spans decades, including her tenure as leader of the party and premier of the Western Cape. Her voice carries authority, and her involvement in this process sends a message to both party members and the public that the DA is serious about maintaining standards. But questions remain. Will the leadership contest be smooth, or will underlying tensions emerge? Leadership races often bring competing visions to the surface, different factions, different priorities, different strategies. This is not unusual, but how those differences are managed can determine the outcome. For the DA, the stakes are particularly high. As part of the coalition government framework, the party is now expected to contribute to governance, not just critique it. This requires unity, clarity, and strong leadership. The outcome of the Federal Congress will shape how the party positions itself going forward. Will it consolidate its role within government? Will it push for greater influence? Or will internal dynamics limit its ability to act cohesively? For South African voters, these questions matter. The shift towards coalition politics means that parties like the DA play a more direct role in shaping national decisions. Internal stability is no longer just an internal issue, it has national implications. Zille's message, therefore, goes beyond the party. It speaks to a broader challenge in South African politics, the need for credible, transparent, and accountable leadership processes. In a political environment where trust is often in short supply, how parties conduct themselves internally can influence how they are perceived externally. As the Federal Congress approaches, all eyes will be on the Democratic Alliance, not just to see who emerges as the next leader, but to see how the process unfolds, because in this moment, the process itself is the message, and for Helen Zille, that message is clear. Fairness, integrity, and accountability must come first.